Hello, Mario. Hello.
What happened to your face?
Nothing. What happened?
You have something there?
No, nothing's there.
You have a band-aid.
You must be seeing things. You must be seeing things. Yeah, I have a band-aid. I had a zip that had to go, so what can I do?
Oh, okay. Everything okay?
My adolescence is coming back again.
Yeah, you have pimples.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Can you switch off the recording, please? I'll tell you to put it on again. Hello?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello. Put on your... Oh, put it... Okay.
Ernie, what are we doing tomorrow?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Shabbos is 4:45.
4:36.
We can't learn at 4 o'clock. We have to learn it. It's an hour earlier. We used to learn at 4. We'll have to learn
Why
it.
can't we learn? Why can't we learn in the? Why can't we learn in the morning? It's much better.
Like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone else can make it then. What's wrong? I mean, I can learn at 8 o'clock in the morning, but what's wrong at 3 p.m.?
I don't know if I'll be. It's just before Shah. I don't know. You know.
3. I mean, we used to learn at 4 p.m.
Yeah, but 4 p.m. and 3 p.m. is a different time of day.
But Shabbos is at 4:30, basically.
I understand. Okay, learn at 3 p.m. I don't know if I'll be here.
All right.
I can learn at 8.
I mean, we'll have to have well, if more people, if everyone wants to learn at 8 in the morning, I have no problem with 8 o'clock in the morning. It's got to be.
Can you learn at 8 until 8:30?
No.
Huh?
I have to go to work then.
Can you learn at 3?
You want to learn at 3:30? Want to learn at 3:30?
3:30. Shabbos is at 4:30. You got to get ready. That's that.
Okay.
Let's make it a 3, Walter.
Let's try.
Huh?
Let's try 3.
Okay.
Let's ask Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny, tomorrow is 3 p.m. okay?
It should be.
Yeah, okay. Because it was 4 p.m. last week, but it's an hour earlier because Shabbos
Right.
is at 4:30. So
Right.
is 8 o'clock in the morning? Is that better for you?
For me, yes. Because I mean, 3 is okay, but sometimes you're rushing, you have to shower quickly.
So that's what I said. 8 is better for me.
8 is better for me too.
Okay, 8 is okay.
Okay, but I'm at Minyan. I finish at 8. Can we do it at 8:15?
Okay, so 8:15, no problem.
Mario, is that good for you or is that too late?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, let's do it 8:15. No problem. That'll work.
No, then you don't have to worry about it at the end of the day.
Then you don't have to worry about rushing. You can make it
Then Shabbos will be Motzei Shabbos at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You want to do it at 7:30? I mean, you whatever.
Yeah, you can do it at 7 also. I mean,
do it at
Shabbos-
7.
Okay, let's do it at 7. Let's do it at 7 Motzei Shabbos. And the same thing Sunday, 7 and 8, like we've done before. Okay, that's good. Nun Daled, 54. Meisvei.
You can start learning Navi at night on Motzei Shabbos, you know.
Okay, let's talk to the group. Let's talk to the group this Sunday night and see if we want to go back to Motzei Shabbos. I like Motzei Shabbos too. That at 7 o'clock the Daf and 8 o'clock the Navi.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a good idea. Okay, so we talked about Yehuda has the area up until the Mizbeach, and that's why there was no Yesod on the southern portion, southeast. So Meisvei,
Nor on the east either, no?
I'm talking about the east, southeast.
Both.
Northeast there was. And northeast there was, then there was a Yesod that went all the way to northwest,
Mhm,
and then southwest there was a Yesod.
mhm.
The only place there was no Yesod because of this Yehuda Binyamin issue was southeast. Meisvei Ola Sa'of. Here's a very interesting technical issue why they try to say there's a problem with not having Yesod there. The bird Ola, Ketzadai Sanasis, how do they process that? So Haya, he stood on the Sovev, which was, remember, 5 amas up. Umolek es rosh mimulapa. He would make an incision with his nail, the back of its neck, umavdil, and separate actually the head from the body. Umematze damal kir mizbech. And he would press the bird against the wall of the mizbech to squeeze the blood out. But if there was no yesod there, the way most Rishonim learn, when the blood runs down, it's not. There's no yesod there. You can't have a korban accepted without pouring the remainder of the blood on the yesod. You have to say kachisnu avira binyamin. Means the airspace was done in the Shetach of Binyamin. The Karka was Yehuda. There was no Yesod there, and it didn't need it because the actual squeezing of the blood, which is what's required, it's not Shirayim, took place in the Shetach of Binyamin. Now, what does it mean, Lo Hava Lo Yesod? What does it mean that the southeast corner didn't have a Yesod? Rava Binyan. There was actually no built Yesod there. Lev Yomer B'Domim. No, there was a Yesod, but it didn't have a din of Yesod regarding the blood. So they had a machlokas when Yaakov benched Binyamin. He said, Binyamin Ze'ev Yitrof. Binyamin will be like a wolf when he tears his prey. And this is a siman for the Nachal of Binyamin. Rav metargim b'achsanasa yisavni midbacha. Rav's targum was that in the Nachla of Binyamin will be built in Mizbeach, because korbanos are like nitrofim, things that are torn, like a wolf tears his prey, and it cannot be in any other Nachla. Levi metargim b'achsante yisavni migdasha, that he will be the achsanya for the whole Beis HaMikdash. Makom mekudesh l'damim, the place that has been sanctified for dam. Even though not all of the mizbech would be built in his chelik. So, even though not all the Beis HaMikdash would be built in his chelik, but the dam would be applied in his chelik. So Toshma. So in Masechta Midos, which we're going to learn, God willing, in the future, it says Hayisodayam alech al pnei kol hatzafon val pnei kol hamayriv. Like I showed you the picture yesterday. You still have it. The Yisod traveled completely the length of the north and the south, and the west. And oichel bedorom amma, southwest, it extended for 1 amma. Uvemisrach amma achas, and in the east it extended 1 amma. But basically the whole other side of the east and the south of the south didn't have an amma, didn't have any yesod. This is like Rav. That there was actually a structure there, binyan. So the Gemara says, "My oichel nami bedomi" means there could have been a built yisod around the whole thing. It's just that it didn't qualify to accept the blood. Toshma. And this we're going to learn in Masechta Midos. It was 32 by 32 amas at the base. So remember, look at my hands. The Mizbech was built like this, almost like a pyramid, square, 32 square, then 30 square, then 28 square, and then, that's how it was built. Square on top of square on top of square on top. That's why there was a yesod, and that's why 5 amas up, there was a walkway, like we said, a 2-foot walkway, an amma, because it was built a 32 amma square, like of cement, then a 30 amma square of cement on top of that. That leaves 1 amma on each side to walk around. That's the yesod. So if you built 32 by 32, so there was a yesod everywhere, like Levi. So that's only the north and west side had 32 complete, but it wasn't it was not a complete square on the bottom on the east and south side. Toshma. Nimtza, when we built the ramp there was an airspace between the end of the ramp and the Mizbeach. Poireach ama ala yesod and ama mi ala soviv. And it sort of overhung a little bit of the yesod and the soviv. Well, that seems to imply that there was a yesod there. Remember, because the ramp is on the south side. If there's no yesod, how can the Baraisa tell us that the overhang sort of hung over the yesod? Ema keneged. That means where it's supposed to be, even though it was not there. Ama yesod. Keneged ama yesod. Even though physically it wasn't there. Velama soivi. Toshma. The Tony Levi. Ketzad bonin on samizbech. Here, we're actually going to be given the architectural blueprints, how they actually built the Mizbech. Mevi'in malbein, shehu shloishim u'shtayim al shloishim u'shtayim. They brought a wooden frame that was 32 by 30, made out of wood, 32 by 30. V'goveo aman, it was 1 amma high. Umevi chaluki avonim ufulamos, being doors, they brought stones, big ones, small ones, because the Torah says mizbach avonim, and you filled up that whole wooden frame with these stones. Think about a cement truck that comes and lays cement in that 32 by 32 amma wooden frame. But instead of cement, they put stones. Umevi sid, now they brought cement, vicunia, some kind of lead, vizephes. This was their asphalt or concrete. Umamache. And you poured it in so that the stones became one mass. V'shofech, and you poured it on the stones. V'zeu mokim yesod. So now you have a base of 32 amas. What's the next step? Choyzer umalvin malbein, we let it dry, and then umevi malbein shloshim amma shloshim amma govei chamish amos. Now you brought a 30 by 30 amma wood that was 5 amas high. And now you lay it on top of that square. Now when you fill that, you've built up your Mizbeach 1 amma and 5 amas. It's now 6 amas high. And now you're going to get 28 by 28. That's the Sovev. So the Sovev was actually 6 amas up. So the Kohen could bend down and still be above the Chut HaSikra, because the Chut HaSikra was by 5. So the Sovev is at 6. So the Kohen standing on the Sovev, just reaching down, would still be Chut HaSikra if he had to apply blood there. So now they built 30 by 30, 5 amas high, umevi chaluk yavid, again filled it with stones and cement. On top of this is now 6 amas high from the ground, 28 by 28. So that's the yesod, that's the sovev, because it's 6 amas up, and now 1 amma in, 28 by 28. Now the mizbech is 9 amas high. The corners are going to be 1 amma up. So it wasn't 10 amma complete. It was not, the Mizbech was from the floor to the top of the Mizbech 9, but then the corners were 1 amma up. So from the floor to the top of the corners, 10 ammas Mizbech. 32 by 32. That's how we have to view the Mizbech. Right? On the top of that 9 amma thing, that's where you place the grill in the middle, where you burnt all of the korbanos. Then they brought a small 1-by-1 frame in each corner and filled that with stones and then poured the cement. That's how you had an amma, right? It's a 2-foot corner in each corner. We said 10 ammas, so it's 20 feet high. The Mizbech is a big structure, right? 64 feet by 64 feet, 20 feet high. And then the ramp was itself 32 coming up to it. So the Mizbech took up a lot of space. So the Gemara now is arguing that this.
Ernie,
Yes, sir.
do we know how many korbanos they could bring at a time?
Well, how many korbanos did they have on Erev Pesach?
Yeah, no, but so they brought everything at the same time on the Mizbeach?
Walter, you could only burn the Mizbech, you could only burn the korbanos. First of all, you had to eat the meat until Chatzos.
I know.
And the rest of the meat had to be burnt until the next morning.
No, I understand. So obviously it was
They
huge.
They started at 12:30 p.m. I'm talking about an Erev Pesach. They had tens of thousands of korbanos that they had to process.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the biggest day of the year in terms of number of korbanos. Because remember,
Right.
you could be in a part of a family up to 10, I think. 10.
Right.
So it wasn't a korban for every family, but that was probably the most
Chaburas.
The
Yeah,
chaburas.
but they just had one Mizbech. I mean, the Mizbech was big.
Just one
It
Mizbech.
was huge. Yeah.
Now, remember, there are 2 grills. There was the main grill, there was a second grill. Remember, we'll learn that in Midos. So there were 2 grills on top of the Mizbech. Now, remember, they had a huge flame. You're talking about thousands of degrees. Well, I don't know, thousands of degrees, but, many hundreds of degrees. How much did it take these weren't huge animals. Remember, Ben Shana time, most were less than a year, some were less than 2. So you're talking about smaller animals. They're not fully developed animals. Egel.
No, they aren't big behemoths. During, let's say not on Pesach, if it was just during the month, what happened?
So during the month, people could bring. You could bring a korban shlamim any day. You could bring in korban ola as an adava, but you only did that if you came to visit Yerushalayim. Most people visit Yerushalayim Gimel Regalim, and that's when they brought their korbanos. So there was a lot of activity then. In between the Yomim Tovim, so you had people who live in Yerushalayim, you had people from around Yerushalayim, but it's not such an easy thing coming from the Galil, coming with your shepsel, with your animals. Sometimes you bought it there, I guess, but it wasn't that populated. So on every other day, remember, we also learned a concept called Kitzah Mizbeach. They never let the Mizbeach be empty. They always had animals set aside called Kitzah Mizbeach. Kitzah Mizbeach was like dessert for the Mizbeach, so there should always be something burning there. So if it happened to be empty, the Beis Hamikdash itself had corrals that they fed animals into the Mizbeach process, bringing in olas, etc. So let's say most likely there were dozens to hundreds on a regular day, is my guess. and obviously thousands on days during, Yomim Tovim, and certainly on Pesach.
Very hard to,
Huh?
it's very hard to visualize that.
Yeah, but Mario, I'm trying to visualize. Look how big, this was a big structure.
I know.
We have this vision of a mizbeach, like a private altar. This is a huge structure, 64 by 64 feet. That's like almost a half of a basketball court, right? It's 100. A basketball court's 100 feet. So a half of a court is only 50 feet. Think about how big that is. So that's the size of the grill they had. And you've seen pictures of the Har HaBayis. The Har HaBayis is a huge area, huge. We're going to see.
Walter, you're muted.
I said, I've been up in the Har HaBayis.
Okay, but in Midos, the Azara was 187 amas by 125. So 187 is you're talking about 360 feet. So it's certainly the size of a football field is 100 yards, which is 300 feet. So it's the size of a football field.
Mm-hmm.
The Azara, this is the Azara, not about the Har HaBayis. You're talking about the Ezra's Kohanim. That's the size of a football field.
But by the way, when you go up on the Har HaBayis,
it's massive, right?
No, it's not only massive. When you look, okay, when you look to the
Looking west. When you're in that door by the Kotel HaKatan, you're looking west.
No, I know you're looking west, but when you're looking west.
No, you're looking east. I'm sorry, the Kodesh Kadoshim is the most. Excuse me.
Yeah.
The Kotel HaMaravi is west.
West.
So when you look through that door, you're looking east to Har HaZeisim.
East. But when you're looking north,
north, where those steps are,
okay, no, when you're looking north and you see how big the place was where they used to keep the animals, it's huge. They had a huge. There's a huge courtyard. You can't even believe how big it is. Many times bigger than the Har HaBayis. In other words, we don't realize it until you see it.
Think about it. The Ezra's Kohanim, which I said is 360 feet. You remember the pictures? We had offices around there. Then you had Ezra's Noshim, which is just as large. Another football field leading into there. And then the Har HaBayis was around there.
Yeah. Okay. Let's learn. Okay. Sorry.
You're talking about a very big place.
Yeah.
Now here comes the kasha. So you brought me that you built a 32 by 32 amma square. So the yesod is there. If the yesod wasn't, it wouldn't have to be completely square. You'd have to leave on the east and southern side, one amma on either side, so it wouldn't be a complete square. So maybe they poured it, and then they removed it, right? They cut it to get rid of the yesod there. But it says avonim shlemos tivnes mizbach Hashem lokecha. So the machis midi mituse. Oh, listen what they did. They had the 32 by 32 amma wooden frame. On the area where they didn't want the yesod, they filled it with wood. So when you poured the stones, they didn't fill that area. So they didn't make a complete square. That's how the Gemara answers. And v'shokale, then the Ilotem Hach has to be that way. Because Rav Kana Avonim Shel Kronos, when they built those horns that I described, chalulois, they were hollow. D'chsivu molu k'mizrak k'zavios mizbeach. They would pour wine in there, so obviously they were hollow. Now, how did they make a hollow thing? Hachanami avanim shlemos ram rachmana. Ela the machis midi mitusa v'shakale. they filled a space with wood, so that it was only the outside that was filled. The rest was hollow. Dorish Rava. Ma'itichsiv, Vayelech David Shmuel. Vayeshru benoyes baramas. We learned this pasuk. Shmuel Aleph, Perak Yud Tes, says David and Shmuel went to a place called Navyois, near Ramah. I understand. V'chima inyan Navyois etzel Ramah. They're two different places. Rather, we darshan. Eloshayu Yoshvin Barama v'oiskim benoyes shaloylam. Shmuel came from Ramah, and they were occupied with discussing the beauty of the world, which is the Beis HaMikdash. And they were discussing, where should we build it? Amri ksiv v'kamta ve'alita lamakom. In Sefer Dvarim, it gives instructions where you're going to build the Beis HaMikdash. You're going to go up. V'lamet sheBeis HaMikdash gavua min kol Eretz Yisrael. The Beis HaMikdash had to be the highest place in Eretz Yisrael. The Eretz Yisrael gavua min kol harotzos. Eretz Yisrael was higher than other places. But they didn't know exactly where to put it, or where the highest place is. Aisu Sefer Yoshua. Now, here we already have a raya that already in the time of David and Shmuel, Sefer Yoshua was written, because Yoshua wrote it. There was no Anshe Knesset Agdoila. Here, Yoshua wrote it. And later on, a few hundred years later, you have David and Shmuel who have the Sefer. Now, in Sefer Yoshua, which we also learned, we described the Nachla of all the different Shvatim. B'kuluk sivi yorad v'ol agvul, v'tor agvul. You know, here the border went up, the border went down. Only by Shevet Binyamin, v'ol oksiv v'yorad loksiv. By Shevet Binyamin's description doesn't say they went down. Amri shmami nahachahu makoymai. They figured out that this highest place must be in Shevet Binyamin. Svor lev mevinye be'ein etam. There is a place in the territory of Binyamin called Ein Etam. It's not far from Beit Lechem. It's sort of, there's Yushalayim going south. There's Yushalayim, then the Beit Lechem, then Chevron. Ein Etam is like a neighboring village next to Beit Lechem. But Beit Lechem is very far from Yushalayim. The Madli. Ein Etam was the highest point in the Nachla of Binyamin. Amri Nitzi Beit Kolim. So, but they said, we shouldn't build it on the highest place. We should lower it a little bit. Kidichsiv uven kseifav shachein. This is also a reference to Binyamin, that the Shechina is going to be ben kseifa, between your shoulders. That means, just like you're not going to build it on the head of somebody, you're going to put it between the shoulders, which is a little lower than a person's head. Why? Oh, V'boy same, if you want, I'll tell you, Gemiri, they had a tradition, Sanhedrin is Bechelko Shel Yehuda. Right? The Mechokek has to be, the lawgivers have to be in Shevet Yehuda. So the Sanhedrin has to be there. Ushchina Bechelko Shel Binyamin. The Shechina is in Binyamin. V'chi madlila lei. But if we build the Beis HaMikdash in Ein Etam, Mispalei Tuva, that's a huge distance between the Nachla of Yehuda and Nachla of Binyamin. Mutav denitzu bei porta. We should make it a little lower, and that way we can fulfill having the Sanhedrin right next to the Beis HaMikdash. Val davar zeh niskane doiga adomi beDavid. Doiga adomi, who cursed David, kidichsiv kikinas beisecha chaltani. He cursed David. And Doeg gave Shaul the idea of chasing him and going to Ir to kill out Novi or Kohanim. It says, Kikinas Beisecha Achaltani. I had kina because of the house you were going to build. It also says, Ksiv in Tehillim, Zechor Hashem LeDavid, Es kol uno so asher nishbo Hashem, im avo ba'oel beisi meitain shnas le'ene lafapoy, if I will give sleep to my eyes, ad emsa mokum Hashem, until I find a place for the base of Mikdash. Hinei shmanua befrosa, mitzanua b'steyar. It was found in Ephros, and it was found in a forest. What's this? Befrosa ze Yoshua, the Gosim Ephraim. We found the source of where we should build it in Sefer Yoshua comes from Ephraim. That's the remez Ephrosa. And mitzanua b'steyar ze binyamin. The Chsiv Binyamin zev yitraf. A wolf lives in the forest. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll learn the new Mishnah tomorrow.
Okay.
So we decided we're going to learn at 8:15. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Please. Okay.
15.
Send me a text, Mario, to remind me, because whenever we do these weird times, somehow I always
Well,
forget.
I put it in the.
Okay. Thank you. But just give me a buzz at 8:15.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
Ernie, Tzvika Shia is on tonight, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, because he put a thing for Kohanim on the same Shia for Sunday. I don't know, but there's a Shia on Sunday morning if you look on his what he sent out, but it says the same. It's on the same topic. So
Well, he gives that every week. He has a share every week.
yeah, but I've never seen it announced on the same one. Okay.
Oh, he probably didn't realize he did that.
Okay. All right. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Okay.